Welcome back to the 2024 AFL season review. We're the 100K podcast and we are up to the Melbourne Demons. If you haven't saw any of these episodes yet or heard, we're doing the same checklist for every single team. We just finished the Hawks. We're up to the Ds. With me, Darcy Bard. How are you, Dobe?
I could not be better. We're slowly getting through these teams, Jeff. So we're up to the Ds. We're rolling through. I can't wait till we finish so then we can actually try and put together a few multis. It's funny. We've seen eye to eye on most of them. We'll see how we go against this side, but I wasn't sure how I was feeling about the Ds, and I went through it, and then I'm sort of feeling how I was last year, Jeff. So let's get into it. So the Ds last year finished fourth on the ladder, Jeff. So 16-7. So they've lost their last four finals. Straight sets. But they are an unbelievable side, Jeff. And the reason why I can't wait to go through and really put our ladder together is because of this first category. What teams and how many A graders do you have? And then position A graders. Because when you look at this team, Jeff,
it's fucked.
It is stacked.
I don't know if it was the COVID year and we just watched so much Melbourne while we're all sitting at home, but it is fucked. Let's start with competition A graders. I reckon we're going to agree with this. I got three.
Yeah.
Christian Petrarca, Max Gawn, Clayton Oliver. They're just competition stars, all three of them. I don't think anyone can deny, as long as Clary's head's screwed on, he is a fucking jet. We all know the other two. Who did you have for competition A graders?
Oh, yeah. So Gawn, Petrarca, just want to touch off that, Jev. So 27.8 disposals he averaged last year and 14 of them contested. 8.4 score involvements. That's coming from the midfield. Oliver as well, averaged 30.3 a game, 6.9 clearances, and same thing again, 14.6 contested possessions. So they're your three at the source that are winning it. They're going to win you a lot of games. And then also, Jev, I did put Stephen May in there. I just think what he does from that, like you do, I'm sure he's a position A grader for you, but as an A grader, like I've seen so many times, he can just shut down a forward. He's strong, he's tough, he's a bit of a hothead, but he uses the ball really well. Like he gets the ball, like gets them going from the back line. So I would have him as an A grader because the reason why we have a position A grader or normal A grader, he would go to any side and he starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I just love his toughness about him. So I've got him there, but as you said, you can debate that. Position A graders. How many do I got?
This is crazy. So we'll go back to our Carlton pod. So the Carlton were the only team. We had 4 competition A graders, but I had 0 position A graders. I'm up to Melbourne. We had 3 competition A graders. I have 6 position A graders, Das. I've got Jake Lever, Stephen May.
Yeah.
Cozzy Pickett, Bailey Fritsch.
Yep.
Angus Brayshaw, Jack Viney. I think May and Lever are borderline competition A graders. They are stalwarts in defense. They're amazing players. Cozzy Pickett is as good a small forward as any of the small forwards in the comp. I'll get to him a bit later. And Bailey Fritsch is just a professional goal kicker. Year after year, game after game. He is just a forward at the best, and his pressure's not the best. He's not the best defender, but when it comes to kicking goals as a footballer, he's as good as anyone. And then Angus Brayshaw and Jack Viney. Jack Viney he was nearly Brownlow medal good last year, or pushing All-Australian. He was so good. And Angus Brayshaw, when Clary was out, just stepped up. He's nearly a 30 disposal a player game when he gets in the mid full time. So I've got them all as position A graders, Das. Who did you have down?
Yeah, so the only one different, obviously I had May as a grader. You pushed him down. So, but I've got the 4. So I've got Viney, Lever, 8.3 intercept possessions a game, Jev, which is unbelievable. I had Cozzy Pickett, Bailey Fritsch, which he's kicking 2.2 goals a game, which is ranked elite as well amongst champion data. We saw what he did in that grand final. But the only reason why I left Angus Brayshaw out, which pretty much rolls into our next one, Jev, is notable role players. What's his position? That's the only thing. So that's why I've got him as a notable A role player in the AFL.
No,
so
I rate that.
He's there, Jev, but I don't have a position for him. So he came third in the Brownlow in 2018. He got 21 votes. Remember when he really came home, but he was playing all midfield.
Yep.
And he knows he could have gone to another team after they won the grand final on a big bank of cash. And he's like, nah, I want to stay this team, want to stay for success. And he pretty much plays half back, sometimes on the wing, midfield when Oliver went out of the side. But he's an elite footballer, Jeff, but you just don't have a spot for me. So
Yeah,
that's why he's a notable role player for me. But the other one, Jeff, Alex Neil-Bullen, you know how many touches he gets?
That's how
many kilometers he runs. If he runs 15 Ks, he gets 15 touches. If he runs 12, he gets 12. If he runs 20, he gets 20, Jeff. It is unbelievable
so how hard he works.
This man has to work day in and day out for a touch. You get guys like Tom Mitchell who would just rack up 35s, 40s, 50s, not Nibbler. He's literally running all day. So I think he's an underrated, notable role player, and he's also very good for a goal every now and then, Jeff. He usually pays about $1.70-ish at the start of the season. So they're my two notable role players, but you can pick a million. You?
So I wrote Christian Salem down. He's actually a very good kick. He's their sort of quarterback, but he was a bit injured last year and he was probably a bit underdone. He's a very good halfback and they rate him. But Lockie Hunter and Ed Langdon on the wings, they're both the most professional wingmen of all time. You see, they like run away from stoppages to receive the ball wide. Professional wingmen. They've topped up with Jack Billings that might fix their kicking inside 50 with his class, if he still got in. And then they topped up with Shane McAdam, who can seriously play Shane McAdam. I've heard a couple of things out of the D's as well, who they're pretty keen on Shane McAdam. Jake Melsham, when he comes back from the ACL, is the role player. He does whatever it takes. He's the sort of guy that stands on Jacob Wedding or stands on Harris Andrews, kicks goals on him, works his ass off, and then Harrison Petty and Van Ruin this year. I can't wait to watch Van Ruin this year. Has Dermot Brereton written all over him. But my ultimate role player, Darcy, is Adam Tomlinson. I talk about him all the time. Yes, Stephen May and Jake Lever get all the love in the media and whatnot. But when you go to Melbourne games, you see Tomlinson's the one that stands on Curnow or stands on Hawkins, and May and Lever chop him out. Then you've got, as you said, Neil-Bullen, Charlie Spargo, who do all the hard defensive running to let Petrarca dominate centre forward. So Melbourne are fucking stacked ass. Out of the three categories, I've talked about 18 players already. They are stacked.
It's unbelievable until you actually go back and have a really good look at it. You're like, fuck, this team's got so many good players. But it shows their last 2-3 years have been fantastic. It was just those bigger games that they haven't been able to get over the line with. I'll let you kick us off with the depth because mine goes into the other category after that. So what have you got written down for depth, Jeff?
I've written a bit down here. I love Melbourne's depth.
Yeah.
They've got great depth. So they've got Ben Brown and Joel Smith sitting there if Petty or Van Ruin are ever injured. I know Joel Smith's suspended for a while. If one of Petrarca or Oliver ever get injured, then Brayshaw, Viney, Rivers, Salem are midfielders ready to go. They've got May, Lever, Tomlinson, but then they've got high hopes on the kid they got from Brisbane, Tom Fullerton down there. They've got Kay Chandler, Cozzy Pickett, Neil-Bullen, Charlie Spargo. So many small workhorse forwards. I spoke about, I'll get back to that one. And then there's one position in Melbourne that I worry about their depth so much. And it's dead set the key to them winning the flag or not, Das. And that's Max Gawn in the ruck position.
Yes.
I think he's their most important player, and I have no idea who his backup is. But I reckon if he was to go down, you could draw a line in them for the premiership. I reckon they know it as well, hence why they wanted to keep Luke Jackson, and they tried the Grundy experiment. My only concern with even Melbourne winning the premiership, it rides on the fitness of Max Gawn, Das. You go with your depth. Sorry if I just stole a bit of your love.
No, that's good. I wasn't going to go over the Max Gawn thing. I thought we were going to chat about that a little bit later. But I can, obviously, if Grundy wants to go. But surely there's another way you can use both of them because they're unbelievable. And you can see so many times it comes down the line. And Gawn just marks it and just pumps it back in. He's so important, as you did say, Jev. He's getting a bit older. I just hope that everyone can stay fit and healthy. But for the depth, Jev, it's really been a talking point as far as Melbourne goes that they don't really have, apart from Fritsch, like who's going to be the other big four that comes through. And I've just got, this is going to lump into my young guns. So we got Van Ruin, Jev. We're
Yep.
both so excited to watch him play. He can take a game over. He's just got the big hands, and he goes at 70% in front of goal, which is amazing for a young kid. Like, seems to be very poised, got a really good technique. So does Bailey Fritsch. But then you got another two that are coming through. So Colton Tholstrup, who they picked 13 this year, Jev, in the draft. 186 centimeters, 86 kilos. So he's a lump of a lad, tough as nails. Played 10 senior games for Subi last year.
Nice.
He tested second in the agility in the combine this year, and he was top 10 in the 2K. So 6 minutes and 16 seconds, Jev. He seems like the ultimate competitor. So there's another mid-key, half forward that you can put in there. And then they also drafted Matt Jefferson 2 years ago, who was pick 15 from the Oakley Chargers. 195 centimeters. You know that these big tools take a while to come through, but he's there at Casey, Jev. Kicked 40 goals last year, kicked 2 bags of 4. Who knows? Could be an absolute player in 2 years' time. Van Ruin, Jefferson, Tholstrup. They've still got a few of these younger guys coming through. Spargo, Pickett, like who's going to be playing the smalls. And then you got their midfielders that can rest down there as well. So as far as depth, especially with Petty, as they said, how old's he? 25 maybe?
Yeah.
Like he's not that old. So he looked like he was coming into his own playing forward. So looking at Melbourne the last few years, you wouldn't say that their big keys have been deadly. But you look at this and you're like, fuck, they're actually like they're set up. If they can get it right, it's scary good. What about you with the young guns?
I wanted to give this its own segment, Das. We have 2 sources inside the Melbourne building.
Yes.
It's one of the only teams I've actually got a source where I can find out inside information and I get fucking good word. I'm not going to reveal who they are, but this is the one team I can actually ask a question about and I get answers. I am hearing Trent Rivers is absolutely flying, Das. Like flying. And I'm hearing Trent Rivers, Jake Bowie, and Judd McVee are absolutely flying off the half-back line, which I love. So I'm hearing the half-back this year are going to be their most dangerous weapon, and they set up, they defend, and then they fucking go. So that's one of the words I've got from Melbourne, Das.
Oh, I like that. I really do. All right, next one. Jev, Dark Horse All-Australian.
So I reckon you can just absolutely lock in Christian Petrarca to the All-Australian. I reckon he's going to kick 30 goals this year. I reckon there's a spot for him. I reckon it's an absolute lock. Is it Viney's turn to get a bit of respect maybe? Is he the dark horse? Or is it Trent Rivers? Trent Rivers is my absolute dark horse from what I've heard. He is dominating. So, yeah, I'm going to go, those 3. Who did you have down?
Yeah, Dark Horse All-Australian, Jev. I just want to see him add it to the resume, and that is Jack Viney, yet to be an All-Australian. 184 games under the belt, pretty much the same as Maynard. They've both got that exact same amount. Really good leader. Even as you said, like he went through a patch last year where like I think when Oliver went out, like he's literally dominating sides. I think it was the Queen's birthday game against Collingwood, and he was just a one-man wrecking show. Like that loose ball, like he loves it. He loves when he gets when there's a ball about 15 meters away and someone else is 15 meters away. He's like, let's go. One of us is coming away with a pill. Like he loves it. One thing I want to see from him though, just he has to kick up his clean up his kicking a little bit. Sometimes a few kick just tries to do a little bit too much. But I would love to see him get an All-Australian jacket, Jev. So that is my dark horse. With the next one, coach and captain. Interesting. Can't wait to hear what you think about this.
They have like the coach and the captain. So before the season, they do the captain's day. You know, when all captains get together, they get the photo with the Premiership Cup. They used to say Joel Selwood just used to run that day to us. Like he was the captain of the captains. It was Joel just leads him around. He gets up and talks in front of the function. Apparently now it's Max Gawn. He's the man. Maybe it's because he's the elder statesman, but he's the one. He's the captain of the captains. He's so well respected. He's such a good player. He's hungry. I'll never forget on Dylan Friends when he said, when people say footy's not everything or footy's not your life, he goes, no, it's not my life, but I've dedicated 10 years to it and I want to make it. I want a premiership sort of thing. And he just like, he was so invested before they won that flag. So absolutely love Max Gawn. Don't know how much longer he's got left. And then Simon Goodwin, he can coach. He can fucking coach. You can think they've lost 4 in a row, or you can see it as they were 3 goals up on Carlton with about fucking 3 minutes left. They just sort of choked. And I know from our sources at Melbourne, I know after the game, yes, they were fucking disappointed they lost, but they were filthy at Clayton Oliver and Cozzy Pickett. They reckon Cozzy Pickett just gave away downfield 50s and late hits and downfield free kicks all fucking year, and it cost him a final. And Clary, because he fucked up a bit last year, he gave away that 50 in the final as well. And it's like they lose to Collingwood by a point in the first final. They lose to the Blues by about 3 points in the second final. They were probably good enough to win the premiership. So they would be fucking filthy. Simon Goodwin can 100% coach. All he talks about is contest and defense. Contest and defense. We just went through their list. They've got the defense absolutely sorted. They all play defense. They've got the A-grade midfield talent. They can get the goal kicking right this year. I 100% see them going deep again. What about you? What do you have written down for coach captain?
Yeah, Jev, in a perfect world, why not the D's to go win the flag? As you said, Max Gawn, one of the best, one of the most liked captains in the league. And then you got Simon Goodwin, Jev. We know his resume speaks for itself, how many wins they stack up, and their game plan can play against anyone. Saying that, if Max Gawn goes down, injures himself, and I know there's been a lot of talk about Simon Goodwin, whether he's been going out like betting, drinking with players or whatever. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and the fish rots from the head. If something happens to Gawn and he can't get the players under control, what does it look like for the Ds? Because the back end of last year looked like it was a circus at Melbourne. Like no one could give an answer, and it showed on field.
Great call.
So all I want to know is if something bad goes wrong this year, does it come in to the club and then does it come out? Because it all starts from the coach. Can he hold the players accountable? Because they have a fucking unbelievable list. So it's all there for them to go win. Like everyone's primed and ready to go. Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, Gawn, all these guys, they got this young talent everywhere. We've been mentioning it all pod, but I'm just scared if something happens, Jev, it's going to be an absolute train wreck and then the Ds might fall out of contention.
Nah, it's completely fair. Completely fair. Strength of schedule, Dust. I'll give this one to you.
Yeah, so as we go through, the number one ranked schedule would be the easiest for this year. 18th ranked the hardest, judging on last year, who you verse, who you're doubling up as. The Ds, Jev, the 9th ranked schedule.
Middle of the road.
It's a ripper. It's a ripper for a good team. So notable home games, Jev, what have you got written down?
So they played 9 games at the G in their first 15 rounds. 9 games. I love watching the Ds on the G. So they get Brisbane, Carlton, Collingwood, Geelong in those 9. They're all great games. So, it's sort of up to them. You're at home. You get 9 in the first 15. What did you write down for notable home games, Das?
Yeah, just Dogs, Hawks, Brisbane, Richmond, Cats, Carlton, St Kilda, Collingwood North, West Coast, Essendon, Giants, Port, Collingwood. They're going to absolutely love their chances against half of those sides. And just a quick one, is Carlton Melbourne not one of the best matchups in recent memory? Like you got that final, the one before where Petrarca kicked the goal, we thought that he touched it, he didn't.
True.
And the one that Cozzy Pickett buried us. Like
True.
The teams just match up. They're a heavyweight team. They seem very old-fashioned when it comes to big games. And it's just, as you said, you have contest and defense. Like it comes in, they back each other up. I love how they play at the G. They had a big game against Brisbane last year. Even Richmond pushed them. Collingwood, Giants at the G. Collingwood. They've got a great, for the viewer.
Yeah,
it's an unbelievable stacked list.
And the thing about Melbourne is, when you look at they don't tag, because when you look at their mids and stuff, you go, why would we waste a mid tagging? Look at our fucking mids. So they go head to head with every team. So Sam Walsh and Cripps and stuff, everyone has big games against the Ds and the Ds have big games against teams and they just go head for head, our system versus your system, contents of defense, can we kick it? Collingwood as well, they play so many good games. Notable away games, what did you write down?
Yeah, it's just a good schedule. They got the Swans, Port, Adelaide, so you got to go obviously Port and then Adelaide. West Coast, Brisbane, Freo, the Bulldogs at Marvel. That is an away game for the D's. That is a goddamn away game. They cannot play Marvel. That's their only game there. And then the Suns away. So the Swans and the Suns are going to be a tough one. I think Adelaide's going to be tough. Port, I think that they'll beat them there. Freo aren't much top. Brisbane up there. I just think it's a fair schedule. You got the big teams at the away spots, and Bulldogs is definitely a away game. They cannot play Marvel. What about you?
Yeah, so they open the fucking season with the Swans in Sydney, and that game gives me a fucking hard on, Das. I am so fucking excited. Last year, Goulden had 42-2, Fritsch kicked 5 or 6, and then Petrarca and Viney were just unbelievable, and they were too good for the Swans. So that game is going to be fire, and it's about fucking 2 weeks away. Then rounds 3 and 4, they played Adelaide both weeks. They played Port round 3, Crows round 4. One of them must be the gather round. So their schedule's super fun. It's tough. They're going to be a great team to watch this year.
Where would you have their floor of wins at? Like their...
Yes. This is where, what did you say they won last year? They were 16-7 last year. Yeah. So their floors, unless Max Gawn gets injured, their floor is like a 12-13 win team. They're fucking good. They know how to win games. If a team's too young against Melbourne, they're too experienced contest defense. They know how to win football games. So they're a 13-win team for mine. What about you?
Yeah, I just had the floor as being a very all hell breaks loose, injuries, all that shit, even though I haven't done that with all sides. And then they miss finals and they win 12 games.
Yeah.
Like worst case scenario. What do you have their ceiling as?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mix of, as I said, they don't tag anyone. They don't care about other teams. You can't care about other teams when you're trying to win a premiership. So they're never going to be, I don't think they're going to be a 20-21 win team like we sort of predicted Brisbane or Collingwood might be. I think they're just where they finished last year, like a 16-17 win team, top 4, not top 2, sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th. That's what I think of the D's. What do you think?
Yeah, I had a season same as last, so I think they're ceiling 16 wins. I've got Collingwood, Brisbane being the two big hitters, but you look at their list and because I wrote their ceiling down before, and then I sort of worked backwards on this one, and I'm just like, fuck, they could win 18 games.
Yeah.
Why can't they finish second on the ladder and just be another juggernaut? And we're like, fuck, they've been doing it the last few years, Jev. They really have. So, but I think that if they finish same as last year, make top 4, and go on with it, I think it's a really good season for them. Where did you have their over under?
I've got it 13.5. I'm probably being generous because I want to bet the over. It's maybe more like 14.5. What about you?
Yeah, once again, we have not seen where the over/unders are at. I've got 14.5. I reckon they're going to push it up.
Yep.
Same thing again. We've only got a few teams that I'm really smash the over.
Yep.
Tough one.
Tough one for sure. You got a hot take on the D's, Das?
I do, Jev. Hear me out. Jake Melksham wins the Coleman.
He's coming off an ACL.
I'm kidding. It's not my take. Here we go. Bailey Fritsch to kick 65 plus goals this year, stamp himself as a top 5 forward in the comp, and be awarded with his very first All-Australian jacket. His last 3 seasons, Jev. So he had 59 goals, 24 points, 58 goals, 22 points, and then 38 goals, 25 points. So pretty much kicking 25-ish points every season.
Yeah.
But then he had a 38 goal, a 58, and a 59. We know what he did in the big finals, been a little bit up and down. He's absolutely primed and ready to go this season.
Fucking love it. My hot take, Das, it's not necessarily a hot take. I'm just fascinated by Christian Petrarca, Das. I am so fascinated. Maybe it's because I'm about to turn 30. I've been a carpenter for 10 years. All I do is fucking go to work every day and try and find time to exercise. But follow him on Instagram. I just love how he counts his calories and he eats the best food you can eat as an athlete. So he takes care of his body. They say he's the hardest trainer at Melbourne. And then you see all the stuff he does outside of training. When he's training at the Red Bull in Austria, he stretches his hips like they're bloody they're got to be the loosest things on earth. He swims, he recovers, he's got the boots, he sleeps a lot, he tapes his mouth when he sleeps, he eats healthy. I can see how much it means to him, and I fucking love how professional and dedicated he is. I'm just so excited to watch Christian Petrarca. And we haven't given our Brownlow tips yet, but I'm down to 3 that I'm picking, and he is one of them. I think he's going to win the Brownlow this year. I fucking love him. I think he's an absolute stud. I've got it. My source inside the building says he's going to kick more goals this year. It's why I said he's going to kick 30 before. I reckon he's a lock all of Australian. It's Brownlow. He's talking premierships. He'll kick over 30 goals, and yeah, I'm just fascinated by him, Das. Next up is North Melbourne. This is an interesting one because we like their players, but they are dog shit. So I'm so interested to see how you grade North Melbourne. I haven't even started North Melbourne, so give me a couple of days. I'll see you at North Melbourne, Das.